Hi, it's Anne here, and today's video is going to be a get ready with me featuring affordable products. So this video is inspired by trying to avoid shopping and using my collection. Initially I was looking at the Walmart website and I was like, you know what, I've never bought makeup off of walmart.ca and had it shipped to me. I was like, maybe I should try it. And then I was like, you know what? Let's look at what's in my collection and let's put like a cap of everything needs to be under $10. So every item I'm going to try in every category is going to be under $10. Let's see if I have that. Some categories were a little harder than others. Some of them I think were harder than others just because of my own collection, but I could buy stuff out there. And some categories when I was looking online, I'm like, yeah, it's hard to find things under $10 now, especially Canadian. I feel like in the States, you guys still have a bit of a buffer there, but I feel like in Canada, everything is like over $10 and it might go on sale for like $9.99. So all of these items are under $10, not sale price. Looking at multiple websites. So primarily looking at Walmart, that's generally going to be the cheapest site, Shoppers Drug Mart, and the third one would be brand site. I did pick some things that I tried to like mix up the brands a little bit because in some categories, it's like, yeah, I have something in that brand that's definitely under $10, but I already picked a couple things or I picked something in that brand, so I'm going to try and pick something else. So let's just get started. We're starting off with primer, and for our primer, we're using the Ordinary High Adherence Silicone Primer. This is around $8, I want to say. I also have a Wet n Wild primer that's under $10. I think you can get e.l.f. primers under $10. There's certain brands off the top of my head that like most items are under, or they have something in every makeup category that's under $10. So Wet n Wild is one of them, and e.l.f. is definitely one of them, and Essence. Those are sort of, I think, the most affordable brands out there. Other brands, you can find stuff that are under $10, or like at least when it's on sale, it's under $10. This is obviously not a makeup brand, so that's why I kind of wanted to throw this in as my primer because it was a little bit different. Foundation was the only category that was really hard for me personally, and when I looked online, I'm like, man, there's like no foundations under $10. So what I picked was, this is just a sample, but the full size is under $10. It's the Wet n Wild Photofocus Foundation. But yeah, there's like, why are foundations so expensive these days? I'm like, I don't understand. What is it with foundations specifically that makes it so much more expensive than other products? Like, I could find some stuff that was like on sale, it would be under $10, but retail definitely was not under $10. Yeah, just a category that seemed really oddly expensive. I wasn't focusing on tools being under $10. Most of my tools are cheaper and probably under $10. Like, I'll try and focus on my brushes or picking brushes that I know are cheaper. Like, I have a lot of BH Cosmetics. I have like a full set of that. This is a June & Co sponge, which is exactly $10 Canadian on Beautylish. This foundation shade is not the best for me right now, but we're going with it anyway. For again, sake of the video. But yeah, in my collection, I don't have any foundations under $10 other than that Wet n Wild one. I did have the Wet n Wild Tinted Moisturizer, which I gave away. I have a bunch of like L'Oreal foundations, but none of those, even on sale, are under $10. I have a Covergirl foundation, again, not under $10, not even on sale. Although I did see the concealers, so I talked about the concealer that's in my Project Pan. I did see that today on sale for $9.99, and I think the foundation was like $11.99 maybe. Maybe it was $9.99 too, but like that's rare. Very, very rare. I'm trying to apply this lightly. I'm not a huge fan of this foundation, but I want to keep trying it. I like to have a full coverage foundation like on hand, but I'm not a big full coverage foundation person. Powder. So again, in my own collection, it was a little hard to find a powder. I did have a Wet n Wild powder, like the translucent powder, but I already have the Wet n Wild foundation, and I have at least one other Wet n Wild item. So it's like, okay, we need to like cool it on the Wet n Wild. So I did pull this. This is the Covergirl Clean Fresh, it's like a white powder. Mine is repressed, so it looks hideous. It's this guy. This was more than $10 on Shoppers Drug Mart, but it is actually, we're going to skip that for a second. We're going to put on some concealer first. It was more than $10 on Shoppers Drug Mart, but it was like $9.87 at Walmart for that powder. So concealer, we're going to go with this guy. This is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I have it in the shade, I think, warm beige. No, light ivory. This guy is like close to done. So I should have an empty concealer by the end of this year. So that's exciting. So yeah, the e.l.f. concealers were all under $10 because there's like more than one kind. And that was a category that, again, I could find a couple like the Wet n Wild concealers. I think I have the Wet n Wild concealer. It's also under $10. The Rimmel Multitasker concealer, that is also under $10. So there are options. I think you can get the Maybelline one on sale under $10. But yeah, it's amazing how prices go up. Like this morning, I went into the drugstore. They had a points thing going on. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get the points, and I need to get some allergy medication and a couple things that were more expensive. So I was like, it won't be hard to get the points and stuff that I need. So I was like, well, I want to get some cereal. Like I don't eat cereal very often anymore. I used to eat it like that was my breakfast every day. Don't do that anymore. But I was like, I'm going to get cereal. And man, the cereal boxes, they clearly have like the front of the box is the same size, but they're like this thin now. And they're like 317 grams, I want to say. So it's like the tiniest little box, and it was on sale for $4.50. And I was like, that is so expensive, because the retail was $6.99. I mean, this is at Shoppers Drug Mart, so it's obviously overpriced, but I'm like, well, I'm just buying it like as a snack. Because that's how I eat cereal now, is I just sort of eat it as like a snack. But oh man, I was just like, puts me off buying stuff. Like I really like think twice now about buying things, because it's like, do I really need that? Like, do I really need that cereal? No. But it was just kind of a treat that I don't buy. It's like a treat now. It's not a staple anymore. Like it is not a staple. It is now a treat. Also, like most cereals have a lot of sugar and stuff in them that you shouldn't eat anyway. But yeah, I was just so annoyed at how expensive that was. I mean, I didn't need to buy it. I did buy it because I wanted the treat. But anyway, back to makeup. So the bronzer I picked was the Rimmel Radiance Brick. Again, bronzers, not a whole lot under $10 for a bronzer. I would say Rimmel is kind of your most affordable bronzer that you can get. Most other brands don't really have. I guess Essence and Catrice should have one. I don't know what kind of bronzers Catrice has, but they would have one that's under $10. Same with the brand Annabelle in Canada. So I did notice the Quo brand, their prices are not bad. Like a lot of products are between, like, I'd say when I was looking, it was like $12 and $14. But my issue with the Quo stuff is it never goes on sale. So I never buy it because it never goes on sale. Although they do often do points things with the Quo brand. So the Quo brand is exclusive to Shoppers Drug Mart. It's sort of their beauty brand, which is kind of annoying because they don't have a specific website. So I did buy an eyebrow product from Quo that was on sale, like at one of the stores that I was in, but I haven't seen it at other stores, and I can't find it online. So it's not easy to find their products online, especially the Shoppers Drug Mart website drives me crazy. When you look up Quo, you can't, like, even if you pick the makeup, it throws in things like makeup remover and stuff. And I'm like, no, I just want to look at like eyebrow products. And you can't, like, it's such a pain in the ass to try and like find the products because it's such a big, it's one of those like store labels. So there's like bath things and not utensils, but you know what I mean? Like tools, like, you know, bath sponges and things like that. So it's very hard to find, like, I'm like, I just want to look at Quo makeup. And it seems very difficult to do that. Like, I should just be able to click a button and do that. I know it's not that simple, but I would like to just click a button and do that. So, speaking of Canadian brands, the blush I picked was the Annabelle Perfect Blush. Now, this is accessible to me. I know it's not going to be accessible to everybody. But again, like ColourPop blushes, e.l.f. blushes, there are a lot of blushes, I feel like, that you can get that are under $10. I feel like that's an easier category for under $10. And a lot of variety, too. I like this blush because it's a really... this is in the shade Pronto. It's a very natural, easy blush to put on. I feel like it kind of goes with every makeup look. It's one of those sort of neutral pink shades. Like it's a bit cool toned, but not super cool toned. I don't know how well you can see that little swatch on my finger there. So yeah, there it is on my hand. It's a satin finish. Really nice blush. I really, really enjoy that blush, actually. It's one of my favorites. And I don't use it a whole lot because I feel like I save it, which I know I shouldn't do. But that's how my brain works. For highlight, I picked Catrice. Now, Catrice used to be available on Shoppers Drug Mart. I don't know if it is anymore. I know in the States it used to be Ulta, but now it's not available on Ulta anymore, so you have to go directly to their website. But I did look on the website, and this retails for about $6 US, which again, have to calculate in Canadian, is still less than $10 Canadian. So that's why I picked it. So it is the highlighter, the More Than Glow highlighter in Supreme Rose Beam. I like this because I do like a pink highlight. I think it suits my skin tone. Highlight is a category. I didn't look too deep into highlight, but there's not a whole lot, I feel like, from a drugstore perspective. You have the Essence highlight. Like, I can't even think you have the Wet n Wild highlights, but like, does e.l.f. have any notable highlight? Other than the one Essence one, do they have other highlights that are notable? Does Rimmel have a highlight that's notable? I have a highlight from Rimmel, but it's like not notable, I don't think. Okay, let's go with eyebrows because I feel naked. And again, don't judge me on how I do my eyebrows. That's how we're doing it. I picked this product. This is the McQueen My Strong Auto Eyebrow Pencil in the shade, I think, medium brown. This was a bit of an unusual pick. Again, I wanted to pick the Quo pomade that I bought, but again, you can't really find it online. I do have a Wet n Wild little eyebrow kit that I could have picked. The NYX stuff, none of the NYX eyebrow stuff, at least here in Canada, is under $10 unless you buy it on sale. So I didn't pick like my NYX, my favorite Thick It Stick It brow gel. This is under $10, but it is on Stylevana. No, not on Stylevana. What's the other? Yes, Style is where you can get this. So we're just gonna do these off camera and then I'll come back and we'll do the eyes. And the magic of video, I have eyebrows now. Again, don't judge me, they're what they are. So for eyeshadow, you can definitely get single eyeshadows under $10, but I definitely wanted to pick a palette for this, and the palette I picked is a semi-oldie, but a goodie. It's an e.l.f. bite-sized palette in Rosewater. Again, you can get ColourPop ones, you can get Wet n Wild. Is it LA Girl? Or LA Colors? There is another brand in the States that I know you guys can get that we don't get here that's cheaper. Cheaper. I was going to pick my Wayne Goss brush because it's one that I really like, but let's find an eyeshadow brush that is not as expensive. We're just going to go with this is my Beige Cosmetics set that I really, really love that you can't get anymore. Oh, Beige Cosmetics. I just lamented my missing you not too long ago in my eyeshadow video. Man, I still don't understand. I still don't understand that whole scenario because I felt like they were on a roll. They were doing really well with their eyeshadows. I felt like their brush sets were lacking compared to some of the earlier ones. And it wasn't necessarily price. I mean, the price did go up, but I even think like the brush styles. Like I look for specific brush heads, brush shapes. And I wasn't thrilled with a lot of like their later sets, like the type of brushes they had in them. But yeah, I still don't really understand how BH died the way it died. That's a sad death. Sad loss, I feel like. It was a good brand. I know it's not totally dead. I think it was Revolution that bought them, but don't really know what's going on there. But yeah, like definitely in the States, you guys have more options, like under $10, even under $5. I feel like in Canada, under $5 is like, you are really hunting to try and find something under $5. And I think that's where you're starting to like under $10, I feel like you can get good quality makeup. I feel like everything that I'm using is good. I feel like the quality of everything that I'm playing with is good quality stuff. I feel like it measures up to more expensive makeup. But I feel like if you're going to go for under $5, that's where you're like gambling. Now I know you guys get, is it Dollar Tree? I think we have Dollar Tree here. I don't have it here in Toronto, but I think there's a Dollar Tree up north, like near my family home. I think it's called Dollar Tree. And I know they have makeup, but they still don't have, like, I've seen Emily Noel's videos where she gets like all sorts of stuff and I'm like, we don't get that. And like all our Dollaramas don't necessarily have makeup either. They might have stuff like they'll have, I have seen mascara there. I've seen eyeliner, I think. Definitely lots of lip balms and stuff like that, tinted lip balms. But you're hard pressed to find like a full face of makeup at our dollar stores, which is kind of annoying. But it is what it is. Like that's just, we just don't have as many options. We definitely have a lot more K-beauty coming in though. The only thing again is, I feel like back in the day, K-beauty was touted as being, again, cheaper, affordable kind of things. It's definitely not now. It's definitely not cheaper makeup. I'm getting a ton of fallout. Oops, should have done my eyes first. Yeah, like, because I was going to put in the Misha BB cream. I thought, well, maybe that one is. No, that's like $15 minimum, I think. And then I have the Moonshot Glassy cushion thing, which is really cool, except for it's a little light for me. But that's like 20 bucks. But yeah, you can definitely get eyeshadow under $10, especially single shadows. Although again, if you're getting like a bunch of single shadows at $10, that's going to get pricey very quickly. Like you wouldn't pay $40 for this, but if you paid $10 per shadow, that would be $40. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times in palettes, you have to sort of break it out by shadow, or if you're buying singles, you have to think about, you know, if I bought this as a palette, would I be okay spending this much money? That brings me to, I do want to do a video, because I was thinking about this video. I was like, I need to do a video that's like my most expensive products. So I need to go through my collection and pull out what are my most expensive products in each category. And we'll do a most expensive face. What is my priciest face? I'm of the mindset that price doesn't always equal quality. I think you can get quality at cheaper prices, and you can get shitty stuff at more expensive prices. So eyeliner, again, eyeliner was a category. I'm like, you can definitely get tons of eyeliner. Like so many drugstore brands have eyeliners under $10, and a lot you can get like on sale under $10. I picked this guy because it's pretty cheap. This is the Essence Extreme Lasting, what do they call it? Extreme Lasting Eye Pencil in waterproof, and it's in the shade Black Love. I did a whole video on this comparing it to Marc Jacobs, and I really enjoyed how this lasted and how it looked. So again, true testament that price doesn't always mean quality. Like higher price doesn't always mean better quality. I think a lot of times, it's not even I think, I know, when you're paying for something more expensive, one, you're paying for the brand, you're paying for the brand name. Brands that have, you know, an established name can charge more because it's a known brand. You kind of have an expectation of the quality when you buy a name brand. I forget the other thing that I was going to say on that one. I feel like some brands abuse that though. Like for example, I feel like Too Faced can be pretty, because they manufacture things in different, or they get things manufactured in different places, your quality's not always consistent. Like I've seen that or heard that from their like eyeshadow palettes. So like their Christmas eyeshadow palettes are not always manufactured in the same place as like the tin eyeshadow palettes, which I'm really curious. Have they just abandoned the tin packaging? Kind of makes me sad, because I've seen a couple of new releases that look like the small holiday releases. They had that, I don't even know the name of it now, but they've had the maple syrup one. Is that the most recent one? Is that their equivalent of like the gingerbread and the pumpkin pie? Because like the pumpkin pie extra slice was cardboard packaging. I'll be sad that they've done that, because I really like the tin packaging. I think it, again, adds, so that was my other point. The other thing that you're paying for with higher prices is the packaging. A lot of times the packaging components are nicer, they're a little weedier, better material, so you're paying for that as well when you pay for more expensive items. I did not grab my eyelash curler. Let me go get that. Okay, I curled my lashes, and the mascara I picked is another Essence product. Again, this kind of is limited to my collection, because I know you can get cheaper, like you can get other brands that have cheap mascaras as well. However, it was interesting. I was gonna pull the Maybelline Sky High, because I'm like, this is probably under $10. It's $11.99. And there was another like Maybelline one that was, yeah, just over $10 that I have. The Lash Sensational and the Falsies one, like they were all just hovering over $10. And I was like, no, I want it to be $10 like retail price. And yeah, I just found that interesting. And then some are like stupid expensive. Like my favorite one, the Lash Paradise, it's like, I don't know, 18 something that they, or 17. Like it's so dumb. Like I'm not paying that price. I wait till it goes on sale for $9.99, and then that's when I buy it. But yeah, I mean, from, again, a quality perspective, the Essence mascaras are very, very good. I didn't really want to wear this one today because it's a waterproof one. It's hard to take off. It was what I had in my collection. I literally had no other. I even thought that I have the Heimish one. I was like, oh, that'll be under $10. Nope, it's $12. So again, an interesting category where things hover around $10, and you can definitely buy stuff like when it's on sale for under $10, but if you're just like having to run into the store and buy a mascara. And I mean, I think I still have it. I have the Maybelline Big Lash. I don't know if maybe I did declutter it. That one's definitely under $10, but there's a reason why that one is under $10. At least the one I tried. I tried the one with the big brush, which I kind of regret. I should have just tried the regular one, but I feel like, because that used to be the OG for me, but I think it's also a taste change. Like, I do prefer a thicker, I like one that's more volume than lengthening. And it's interesting because I talk about the Maybelline Sky High and I don't really like it. The tube that I have right now, it's like on its last legs and it's getting really dried out. And I like it better now that it's like really dried out, and like definitely, it's definitely like giving me more volume than it ever did before. So I'm liking it now that I've used it a whole lot, but I still wouldn't repurchase that one. Something I did want to put on, which this was again kind of an extra talking about eyeshadow singles. I'm going to put on a bit of this ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in Frog, mainly because it's new to me, so I want to wear it. But again, this is an extra step. Like if I were trying to like minimize what I was wearing, I wouldn't purchase this. But I just want to use it. It's so sparkly and so pretty. But again, it's an easy, like Super Shocks, like this one especially, it's like a topper type shade. If you're wanting to add to your collection but not spend a lot of money, but like bring in variety, I feel like something like this definitely meets that mark. And for lips, again, lips, I feel like there are products out there that are under $10, but again, you're likely gonna have to wait for on sale. So like the Maybelline lip vinyls, those are like, I forget what they retail for, again, something stupid, but they go on sale for $9.99. I was just in the store today, like I said, and they were on sale for $9.99 or $11.99. The regular like Stay Matte inks were $9.99 on sale. There was a bunch of, is it L'Oreal? I want to say it was L'Oreal lipsticks, which I still want to buy them. They look so tempting to me because they're so like classic. I think that's why lipsticks are so tempting to me. They're like this classic beauty item that just feels pretty and luxurious, and like the L'Oreal ones are packaged really nicely. Anyway, I picked this guy. This is a Wet n Wild. This is like a pretty sheer, it's almost a balmy lipstick. Can't read the shade name at all, but I'll put it down below. And I was gonna put a lip liner as well, but I was just like, none of the lip liners I have match this color very well. At least none of the ones that you can just buy individually. I do have a couple of Color Workshop ones, which again is another brand that there are some items in there that are not bad, but you can't ever buy them like on their own. Like I can't just buy a Color Workshop lip liner. So that's why I didn't pick a lip liner, and I just picked this particular item. And I'm sure you've all heard of like the lipstick effect. Like when things are expensive, people will still buy beauty items, particularly things like lipsticks, especially when you get them on sale. So it's like, I want something that's a little luxury. I want something that makes me feel good, but it's not going to cost a ton of money. So they call that the lipstick effect, because generally that's like an item that people buy. But it's like, yeah, nail polish, lipstick, cheaper products like that, that you can buy like under $10. So yeah, I really like this because it's like a nice soft sheer color, but still gives me color. It feels really nice, and like this was super cheap. Let me just fix my hair and we'll come back and wrap this video up. Oh, before I do that, I'm gonna spray my face again. Another Wet n Wild product. Oh, the other thing too is I didn't include an eye primer because I only have one eye primer, which is the Urban Decay Primer Potion. I'm not sure if the Milani one is under $10. I think you can get an e.l.f. one. But again, eye primer was like, I can't think of any that are, other than the Milani one that Emily Noel talks about all the time. And then setting spray, I have this guy from Wet n Wild. Again, I can't think of, I had a L'Oreal setting spray, but it was definitely not under $10. I don't know if the Milani one is under $10. I'll look it up and like I'll put it down below to let you know. Probably in the States it is, but again in Canada, hard pressed to get things under $10. I don't know if I finished my sentence on this, but I only have two setting sprays. I have this one and the Urban Decay All Nighter, so hence I kind of had to pull another Wet n Wild item. So this is the final look. I think it came together really nicely. I did mention that I picked certain items because of the brand. Like I was trying to get some diversification with the brands that I picked, although it was a little difficult. But I also was pulling some items that I thought would coordinate well together. Like this is something I would wear every day. Like these are makeup items that I wear regularly, except for I would say this. This is probably the only thing in here that I wouldn't wear regularly in terms of makeup items, but everything else is like everyday stuff for me, and some of them are even Project Pan items. Yeah, this was an interesting challenge. I thought it was going to be easier than what it was, but it was a little trickier than what I thought it would be. But I also feel like the one thing I want to say with makeup is I know what I spent on these items. Nobody out in the world knows what I spent on these items. I will put the total down below. Like if I bought all these items today, how much it would be, excluding tax, in Canadian, just to kind of show you how much it would cost. But people out in the world don't see or don't know what you're putting on your face and how much it is. You might get somebody ask you like, oh, I really like your lipstick. What is it? And you'd be like, oh, it's this. Or like if you're a person that likes to put on like your lipstick or your powder out in public, then maybe you want something that looks good. I feel like when I spend money on makeup that's more expensive, it's because I'm looking for something that I feel like is gonna have good quality. And then sometimes certain things, it's just like, I just feel luxurious using that item. Nobody else needs to know about it, but I do. So like that's something to think about. Like if you are on a budget, I think sometimes people feel a little bit like, oh, I can't afford nice makeup that's expensive. And it's like, no, you can still get nice makeup that's more affordable. Although man, like, yeah, prices just keep going up and it's getting a bit frustrating. So speaking of which, it's really funny. I was watching last night an American Werewolf in London. If you like horror movies, it's a classic. You need to watch it. And one of the girls, she's a nurse. And then she says something in the store like, because the American's with her and they're buying something in the store. And he's like, man, things are so expensive. And she's like, I know, I can't keep up with inflation with my wages as a nurse or something. And I'm like, everything keeps coming full circle. Because that movie was filmed, I think it was released in 81. So it's like, what, 40 years ago? I was going to say 20 years ago because that's in my head, 20 years ago. No, that's like 40 years ago. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. If you did, feel free to give a little thumbs up down below. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel here in Toronto, Canada, because stay tuned. I am going to do a full face of my most expensive products. So that'll be interesting to see, to compare, like, is it really that much better than using the affordable stuff? I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye.